Welcome to the CAMS Industry Summit here at Northwood University. I'm Sarah Vantine of the Fixed Ops Roundtable here with Ted Ings, and today our first session will be covering technology trends in automotive. And Ted, we have an esteemed group with us this morning.
Sarah, we do. We're at the 62nd Annual Northwood International Auto Show, and our first panel today is about technology trends in automotive. We have some leaders in our industry. I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourself and what you do, starting with Maureen. We'll go right down the line. As we get a little bit further, Sarah will hand that microphone a little bit further in. Maureen?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maureen Martin. I'm our Vice President of Strategic Alliances for Dynatron Software. We are on the fixed operations side, obviously, of the business, and just delighted to be back here at Northwood University.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Grubich. I'm CEO of an organization called Trego. We are a talent firm. We help organizations with identifying and bringing in and developing the right talent for their auto dealerships.
Brian Kramer. I'm the Executive Vice President of Cars.com, Dealer Growth Success.
I'm Gigi Ho. I'm VP of Technology and Data at SEMA, and we put on the largest vehicle trade show in the world.
You do. Good morning. I'm Shawn Leibold. I'm with Reynolds and Reynolds. I handle our industry relations.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Diego Rojas. I manage our DART program at Lithia and Driveway. Yeah.
Excellent, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for being here this morning. To kick things off, and I'd like to start with Maureen first. We want to talk about key technologies in driving innovation. Maureen, from your perspective, what is the most important pieces that we should be considering regarding technology in our industry today?
I think one of the biggest things is that we need to develop technology that solves issues that we have in the automotive industry. So when we're looking at serving our retail dealerships, it's very important to make sure that, for example, in our case with data is only as good as it is actionable. And how do we take that data and help a dealership to really thrive and grow? Because when you think about automotive, I mean, we are at the free enterprise here at Northwood University, but think about the fact that we represent that in every single community in this country. And so when we look at that, we want to look at things that are solving those issues. We want to be able to leverage the technology to make it so that they can focus on their people, their culture, and their customers. And so we're really looking at things that are taking AI and machine learning, and how do you really take it to take that information to make it actionable? So for really looking at what we're doing in technology, and you look at this panel I've had the privilege to work with in the industry, is how do we leverage that collaboratively together for net profit of our dealerships? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the communities that we serve.
And Mike, to pivot a little bit into that technology conversation, with innovation in how we hire and how we acquire some of talent for these roles across the industry, what are you seeing regarding key technologies?
Yeah, Sarah, some of the things we're seeing is that because of the technologies out there, AI and machine learning, people are positioning themselves a lot better. And companies are using new technology to kind of weed through and hire people at a different pace and a different pattern. What organizations need to start to do is start to get more data to make sure they're bringing in people who have the passion and the fit so that they're going to stick with that company. So we're using data, not AI when it comes to assessment, but true research-based tools in that space to help really identify who are those people who will be a fit for the organization, but also who are those who are going to thrive in an environment where innovation, change, adaptability, agility are really important and be successful in your company.
And Brian, a lot of innovation is happening between, service and sales and dealerships and the entire ecosystem as it pertains to the customer experience. What technologies are you seeing be most impactful?
Well, it starts everywhere, but I would say with service, it starts really where the customer comes to find out about the dealer, and that's the website. And what we're seeing is that the evolution of search has completely changed in terms of, answer engine optimization, the AI overviews, how you appear in that, how your website's built with schema. A lot of the big aggregators like Jiffy Lube and Valvoline are masterful at this, and they build that into their content. The About Us pages need to change. You need to highlight your people. I know I was one of the dealers in my former life that I wouldn't put all my people because I didn't want them to get recruited. You can't do that today. Because it's now measuring, are you an expert in your field? If you don't have ASEs and you don't have years of tenure and all those things on your website, and you're not celebrating those things, and you say that you have all these expert technicians, and it doesn't support it on your website, there's a conflict, so you won't show up in that zero-click search, they call it, on Google. And also focusing on what people answer next, or PAA. And all of those things are built into the website. So I would say that how they come to find you, and then obviously connecting the dots from the online into the in-store with the people is obviously the last piece.
Gigi, in your role and how you're looking at different pieces across the industry, how do you see technology impacting it?
That is a loaded question in our industry. Technology spans not only how the users or our consumers, customers experience their vehicles, but also the innovation that goes within a vehicle, off the production line, and also for us in particular, the aftermarket and the innovative products that go into it after ownership is taken place. So for me, when we look at technology, when a customer modifies their vehicles, they're modifying all kinds of built-in systems that have been integrated into the vehicle. So for, SEMA right now is experiencing a very large initiatives with regards to ADAS and how we work with OEs and dealerships post those modifications to recalibrate really those sensors and camera, focus points. There's huge opportunities also with regards to that, because you look at ADAS and you think that it's uniformed across different OEs, and it's not. Every OE develops their own ADAS technology, and that causes an issue when drivers are on the road. So really there's a standardization that needs to be developed and adopted for our industry with regards to that.
Ted, in looking at our panelists, one of the pieces that is really, that stands out the most, I think, about this experience has been just the synergy between what happens with the customer and what happens, throughout the entire purchase experience. So for Shawn and Diego, I know we have some follow-up questions as well that we want to tackle with some of this technology.
Shawn Leibold, we recently, Sarah and I, had a chance to spend some time at the Reynolds and Reynolds Amplify Summit in Dallas. Some of the folks up here on the panel were there as well. Reynolds is making great strides with AI. You've embedded that into a number of new products. What can you tell us about that, things that you're working on with AI, and any future predictions for our industry?
Yeah, I think AI is one of those things where we have to be careful because it's the new shiny toy, right? So everybody has to have it, but yet they don't know what to do with it. And then all the information that comes out of AI is a lot, and it's a lot to absorb, but then how do you apply it? So we've tried to take kind of a foundational approach with AI to give the tools back to the dealership so that they can make business intelligent type decisions, not only with their customers, but how are they going to go and make their next moves strategically with the data. There's so much data. We obviously are a DMS company, but we also do a lot of other things. So we house all that data, but how do we help the dealer get that data quicker and then have intelligent decisions around that data? So that's kind of the way I look at AI. I know it sounds very cliche, but it's definitely going to be a walk, or crawl, walk, run kind of approach.
And Diego, at the end of the day, it all still comes back to the people within our organizations. Tell us some of the things that Lithia is working on, in particular the DART program, which you are a very big part of.
Oh yeah, no, and it all, it always starts with our people. I love that our DART program really embodies our mission statement of growth powered by people. We've been very lucky to be able to hire some fantastic students from Northwood University, Vanessa Collins being one. So sorry about stealing her, maybe Ted, from you a little bit. But really, that's where it starts, is with our people. And with our DART program, we really believe that we're bringing in high potential talent that will become leaders for our organization. And this is said by our CEO, Brian DeBoer, that without our people, we don't have a business. And this is a people-to-people business. And technology is moving really fast, and we're definitely leveraging a ton of tools that is helping us continue to drive profitability in our stores. But it always starts with the people. So with our DART program, it's really helping mold them with our culture and our values, and helping really set them up for success.
A lot of great conversations, Ted. And I want to pivot a little bit to talk about some trends. And Brian, maybe I'll come to you for this particular question. But are there any trends that you're particularly excited about in our industry right now?
Well, yes, I think there's never been a more exciting time to be in automotive in the history of automotive. So there's so many different places to begin. From used car acquisition, I mean, over the next 5 years, used car acquisition and fixed operations are the two where you have there's obviously a very limited amount of vehicles that are coming back into the market, but there's also a limited amount of dealers that are being transparent with how they're communicating to those dealers to acquire those vehicles from consumers. So there's a lot of people that are buying cars from the auction, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're buying them from consumers that are already on your service drive, that are already physically there. You can scan it with an OBD scanner. The margin of error is much less when you're there with a customer, and then how you're able to account for the ADAS systems and parts pricing and the technology around that. I was at a dealership the other day and we scanned a 2021 RAV4, and I think it was $800 for the windshield, and then we scanned a 2024, same body style, or there's 22 and a 24, and it was $2,600 for the windshield because of the ADAS technology. So with tires, as those things are changing in real time, you can now use competitive-based pricing on the reconditioning, with a product AccuTrade. So as that stuff, I can't even imagine. We've got generative AI merchandising text optimization as we're selling these cars in order to turn them more quickly. So it's a limitless amount of excitement for me. I mean, I could go on, but it's I don't think there's ever been a more exciting time to be in automotive retail.
Mike and Maureen, I'd like to get your perspective on that question as well. There's a lot, from both of your perspectives that, trends are happening in hiring, trends are happening in, the entire service process and how everything moves through the pipeline. So Mike, I'll start with you on that. What are you particularly excited about today?
From our perspective, one of the really cool things that we're seeing is that the generation of leaders who are on the top of organizations these days have put an emphasis on people. So what Diego said, that's what we're seeing as a trend. Historically, that's not what you see in organizations, whether it be in the auto industry or any other industry. But this generation of leaders understands the value of people and are doing more to invest in that, which is an amazing trend to see, and we hope it continues.
Maureen, what are you particularly excited about when it comes to technology and trends that you're seeing?
Well, one of the things that I am so excited about, I know for us, we really focus on understanding transactional data of what's happening on the repair orders. And from that data, it really enables us to help the dealership to understand, are they perfectly priced? And why is that important in our industry? Reason it's important is because net profit is critical to the dealership, profitability overall, and fixed operations and service absorption, we all know, is critical. The other is it's about client retention. You want every customer that's coming in to get the same price and to build that retention. So you don't want to leave anything on the table, but you want to be perfectly priced. Where I see the technology trend is that is a lot of data. I mean, we analyze over 100 million repair orders a year. Think about that. And so when you look at that type of data, what can you glean from it? What can you share? But also what can we do to help in the industry? And so we're really starting to see how that technology is taking that AI and machine learning. We just recently at the Amplify event, Patrick York, one of our partners from the Gilman Automotive Group, said, AI is actual intelligence, not just artificial intelligence, meaning you can take that data, but you still need the people. You need the people that can interpret it. You need the people that can bounce it from our industry and understand that it's going to drive the results that we need, both in retention and in profitability for the dealerships.
If I can follow up with Shawn Leibold at Reynolds, this past October, Katrina and I had a chance to go to the Reynolds headquarters in Dayton, Ohio, and experience that innovation center that you've got on the very first floor. That I think a lot of visitors to Reynolds get to experience first, and it shows off a lot of the things that you're working on, Shawn. A lot of the latest cutting edge things. So, talk to us. Same question about the technology and challenges and opportunities throughout the spectrum on both the variable and fixed side.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I think, as you said, our innovation center is definitely the place that we would love for every dealer to come if we could, get them there. But because I think it shows the way that Reynolds wraps, and this is not a self-serving commercial, I promise. Well, it kind of is, but it does show, like, from the time that the consumer starts in the living room to the time that they consummate the deal, and then the time that they get serviced on the car. But some of the things that we're starting to try to do for dealers, and I'm glad Ed is here, but he's using one of our new technologies to help make service technicians more efficient by having robotics deliver parts to the bays of the technicians. I think these are like the really cool things. Now, obviously, that kind of technology still has to be polished a little bit, but I think those are the kind of things that companies like ours and others in the industry are trying to do to help streamline the processes, not just for the customer, but also for those that are doing the work on the cars. So,
the robotics part is really cool, Shawn. I want to ask Diego about that as well. Is robotics going to replace people at all in our industry, or what?
There's always going to be people in this industry. That's what makes our industry so great, is the people that we all get to work with. But we are definitely looking into obviously improving processes, trying to optimize processes. And there are a lot of very manual and tedious processes in a lot of our internal things that we do at Lithia. And I remember one of my first things was, having to go to OEM websites, pull scores. And it was very, very, I would say, tedious, right? And then I knew there had to be a better way to do this. And what's been great is that a lot of our darters are coming on now. We're hiring darters with computer science backgrounds, and they're really helping us automate a lot of our very tedious manual process that humans don't want to do. And it's giving now more time to really dive into, again, the more deeper analysis and really being able to, kind of take away the things that is really, I would say, wasteful a little bit in terms of our time, and giving us time back to be more productive and continue to serve our people.
I have a question for Brian Kramer. Brian, it's on EVs, on alternative fuels. You've been very active. I've seen a lot of the posts you've had over the last few years on the sales side, because I think you see it first in a lot of the values of vehicles, how they can be adjusted and affect the market very quickly, Brian. Talk to us about that, and maybe what the future holds on those alternative drivetrains.
Well, I'd say the future goes until the end of this month, because September 30th, everything's about to change. And for the longest time, we weren't seeing anything that was changing with the resale values of the supply chain with still high demand under $30,000. And we're seeing that soften up for the first time. And as you go up in price, we'll see the softening of the resale values even more as a percentage. So like a Porsche Taycan or a G-Wagon, EQSs, EBSs, I think Mercedes-Benz just announced that they're going to stop producing those. But those are the ones getting hit the hardest.
Gigi, let me follow up with you on that, if that's okay. Some of the things that you may be seeing there at SEMA.
So with regards to SEMA in particular, the enthusiasts and the builders and manufacturers that make up our association really are looking at twofold. One is really how to extend the excitement and life of a vehicle on the road with all the innovative products that are produced. And the other is really how to make that first experience purchase also exciting. What is interesting in the resale of that is it becomes much more private buyer and collections. So it's actually, as I sit here and I'm absorbing the dealership aspects and more, I would say, general consumer type purchase. Now, I am a general consumer. It's shameful. I work for SEMA and I've not modified my vehicle in any way whatsoever. It literally takes me to work. But where I really see SEMA and the companies within our association and our industry working with the dealers is really in that expansion. And again, working with OEs, we are a perfect liaison to the OEs to extend that ADAS technology, recalibrate, really help with even the warranty coverages that happen with vehicle purchases as well. I think that's where SEMA really plays a role in our industry, is really to help expand the excitement, usage, and longevity of our industry.
Gigi, and I would follow up with you to say that these last 5 to 10 years have seen in technology with things like ADAS, things you're mentioning, things are happening at warp speed now,
Oh, gosh, yes.
faster than ever before in our industry. If you want to speak to that, it's very exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And what's really great is as we talk about AI, one of the things that can happen with AI is with really product testing. Yes, we still need to take those vehicles onto the road and make sure that, they function as needed. But so much of the tolerance testing is done with AI and with computers and technology, so that product innovation cycle that used to take 18 months, 2 years, is now happening in months. I mean, I work with our manufacturers directly, producing product content for the vehicles out on the road and vehicles rolling off the production line, and they're releasing new products monthly. I mean, it's really incredible. Technology is moving everything so quickly.
And Michael, I have a question for you. We're talking about AI technologies, the customer experience. Talk to us about that, because I think nothing can replace that human touch. Your organization, Trego, has great experience with dealer groups such as Sewell over many years. I think Carl mentioned the Trego assessments in his book when he first wrote it 40-some years ago.
Chapter 18.
And there we go. And we have somebody from Sewell here today as well. Speak to us about that.
Yeah. So the assessments that we use can help identify what are do they have the right capabilities and skills to sustain in that role, right? And are they going to not just be a fit for the company, but are they going to stay there for a long time? Are they going to be successful? And we're seeing people who are performing at much higher levels in the sales side and the service side, those elements. So it's helping us bring people in. The other piece I would tell you on the AI side is the learning side and the development of people to help you keep them and grow in their success. And we're seeing a lot more balance of AI with coaching and asynchronous learning and micro learning, all those elements that you start to mix together to keep a learning process going so people can learn new technologies. As things change with technology, they can adapt and upskill a little bit, and they can do it at their own pace, adapted to their style.
I'm going to ask each of you to finish the sentence, starting with Diego on the other end. If you would finish the sentence, the future of automotive is, and I'll let you go ahead and fill in the blank at the end of that sentence.
That's a hard one because there's so many different ways that we could go through. But I honestly, I'm going to have to say that it is exciting. It's optimistic. I truly believe that this business will continue to evolve and thrive. But I know we only have short time. But I will say exciting is the word that I would say.
Same answer. Okay. So same question.
Same question.
Yeah. So when I got the cheat sheet, I kind of I thought about this question a lot, and I think it's really the future of transportation, because I think automotive, while we all know it as a traditional automotive, but I think the future of transportation is like kind of the key to be thinking about. We have a company in Dayton, Ohio that's actually building flying cars right now. So there are going to be some dynamic changes in our transportation world. So I view it as more of the future of transportation.
I'm going to say that the future of technology or aftermarket is, I'm going to say it's going to be a little messy. It's going to be a little messy because there's so many innovative things happening all at the same time. So it's going to be a little bit hard to focus on what it is we need to really concentrate on. But I think in that there's a lot of opportunities. So a little messy, but very, very wide with opportunities.
I wish I had like some shiny answer to the question, but I'll tell you what I've learned here recently with we own Dealer Inspire websites at Cars Commerce, and they're written in automotive schema. I didn't know what that was 60 days ago, but apparently that's the language that AI speaks. So they said you don't want to just speak, English, Spanish, but you also, be bilingual. You need to be trilingual and have automotive schema injected into all of your comments, your oil changes near me, everything like that. And with all the zero-click searches, the AI overviews, and how all of this is changing, if you don't have a website that's built in schema, which not all of them are, so I would check with your website provider and tell you Dealer Inspire is. But if you don't have schema, not just there, but on your Google My Business page, you're invisible to search, and you won't realize it, and it'll go off of a cliff. So I think the future is to be visible, and without that, you're not going to be.
Yeah, and I would say, counter to Gigi, I think it doesn't have to be messy, right? And technology, it's here, it's never going away. Change, it's only going to expand and go rapid if you have the right people in the right job with the right skill at the right time. You will move faster than everybody else.
So what I would like to end with is the future of automotive, as I look at these faces in front of me, is very bright. This is an industry that I guarantee every single person on this panel came to where they are today on a very different path. That is the beauty of automotive. Automotive embraces everything we do in our lives, and it's really about you. So we're up here today because we are so excited to be here at Northwood. Any chance I get to come talk to the students, it just gets me fired up to go back after 38 years and just say, we have a future that is so bright in our industry, and we embrace such diversity, collaboration, and really about the institution itself here. Free enterprise is the basis of everything we do in automotive.
Very well said, Maureen and Ted. An incredible panel with us today.
It is. Thank you so much to the panel. Great information. Everybody, if you would, please give it up for our panel. I'm here with Sarah Van Tyne at Northwood University, and we are going to be right back.